We love our boost counters, we love our shots, we love our assists, we love our saves, but the all-important numbers, they're there at the top of your screens. It's whether you have a bigger number than your opponents at the end of 5 minutes, and we are well underway into game number 1 here. Best of 7s across the board. It should be mentioned in the blue Muhlenberg, in the orange the Holy Spartans, which of course we got to sit down and have a little listen in on exactly what makes these players tick, and Kojak there has certainly made things tick in the midfield. It's a great win in the midfield. Unfortunately, didn't quite have the read, Mitch, to be able to put that one away, but it's a great early chance for Muhlenberg.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about that push was that Kojak did not get the read for the shot, but definitely knew how to adjust, push for the bump, for the demo, even disrupt the defense in their rotations, and that was the smartest thing to do, especially against these inspired Spartans.
Goes to the sidewall, demo, and that's a shot towards net. That's not going to be on target. Oh, a bit of improvisation there from Mr. Millie as they're able to just about survive that one. Only Spartans down the other side. That shot's going to fire wide.
Oh boy, first minute of regulation. Definitely not a feel-out process. They're just trading blows in 60 seconds. A lot of opportunities though on either side, and I think it's going to come down to whoever makes the first mistake. It's not so much who's going to open up the gate, but rather who's going to let the other one leap on the offense. Twig with a whiff. This one wide rotation steals the boost, and now transitioning into offense. Muhlenberg looking to stick the first one on the board, and a lot of whiz on the last line of defense will almost allow the Spartans to survive.
I agree with you entirely on that point of mistakes, and that does tend to be the case at collegiate, at high school level. And they all were watching the fireworks display, none of them willing to go up for the ball. Let off the hook here, already Spartans down the other side. Nice read, but the touch goes wayward.
Oh boy, and again, it's those pixel perfect moments that are going to lead you to either whiffing the ball entirely or finding the worthy angle. And make sure you draw first blood. Another whiff for this one. Too much pressure on last man back. Muhlenberg strike first.
Hey, you've got to say, 2 minutes in, and Muhlenberg really did look like the only team scoring. That's a difficult bounce to read. That is a nasty, nasty bit in between backboard and floor, which I think even the best of pros will sometimes have trouble with. But the problem there is Millie, his position in the net, a little bit too far forward. And so although he's right to go up and try and get a touch away, unfortunately, because of his positioning, it's away, just not into the field, Mitch. It's into the net, and that's obviously led to this disastrous scenario.
Yeah, I do got to respect the hustle, though. There was nothing else you could have done but try and go for it and get that clearance instead. You end up on goal. It was either that or you let the offensive take the credit. 1-0 Muhlenberg heading into the second half of the game. The Spartans, though, looking to retaliate immediately, living with the ball in their own end for longer than intended. Huge pinch into the blue ocean. And now it's Muhlenberg's ball to control.
Meeting the challenge there are the Holy Spartans. As Millie here on that backboard. Able to do enough with limited boost as well. That is about as much as he could have done. Now got 100 boost in the wagon, goes in field, but no one's there to receive it. And Mitch, this is a big problem for the Holy Spartans. Is sure they can turtle up on defense, and they've not exactly conceded a boatload of goals, so it's solid enough. But once they get to that half-line stage, there's nothing. You're looking for an individual effort as that one trickles the crossbar.
Yeah, the transition is suffering at the moment. Muhlenberg in full control. The one slip up might be enough. Not from the Spartans, though. That could have been insurance. Twig will get bested skills behind the issue. And now the demo attempt will come through. At least make Vivid fail into the clearance. Kojak now, again, behind the action. So annoying. Cleans up the last third and unable to put it on target again. Open net, open as he can get. And nobody taking the shot. Finally coming right through. Vivid, 2-0.
Yeah, choo-choo, we're taking the train to Whiffington Central because it seemed like nobody wanted to touch that ball. Vivid got the last ticket and they sent it into the back of the net when perhaps that last defender for the OD Spartans perhaps was thinking, oh, phew, gotten away with that one. Muhlenberg do not let them get away with it. 2-0 with only 70 seconds left.
Oh boy, and the OD Spartans need to step on it.
Uh-oh.
Not enough time, and gotta fix your defense. And not allow any more scores, and if you want to try to mount a comeback in 60 ticks, this one unable to be completed into a shot. Vivid and the man of the hour and will be denied in the corner. Now actually puts it back. Skills will try to put it mid. Plenty of boost in the tank to work with. Gets it in the box. go. Who make it work? Cuts the lead in Nav.
So, Muhlenberg really, I think, just are unlucky on a number of counts here. Kojak doubling up on his teammate when it was a little bit unnecessary. Twig had that, and they could have at least had 2 bodies in net. On the other side, it's an overcommitment from Holy Spartans. You don't blame them because they have to overcommit. They've got to try and make it a 1-goal game. They do so. Now can they find that equalizer?
Oh boy, and it's now or never for the Spartans. At least in game 1, you need to push, be overly aggressive, and start getting onto that last third, or else it can go into 0-1 territory in the best of 7. Skills will actually kill the ball, give it right back, and 20 ticks to go. The angle will be found off the crease, and out here comes the follow-up. Instead, he's declared 50 ticks to go, but I don't think it'll be enough count for the Spartans.
There's a bit of coordinated synergy there in the way of dancing in front of a ball and not actually hitting it. It all burns time off the clock. And that is music to the ears of Muhlenberg. Millie gonna try and help it on. Right idea, lacking execution. A very disjointed game number 1 there, Mitch. We head straight on into game number 2. I think hope for both teams, certainly, but just on the outset, if we were looking at this as like a DVD release, oh god, DVDs, really showing my age, aren't I? If we were looking at this as a streaming release, there we go, I'm now down with the kids. I'm thinking Muhlenberg absolutely... They were the better team in the midfield, maybe just a little bit of rustiness, and we could see within 10 seconds of game number 2, that rustiness has been shaken off.
If you were showing your age by saying DVD, what does that make me that I did not even question it? I heard it and I was like, I completely know what he's talking about. Relic knows everything. Muhlenberg here. Oh, no,
what's a redirect?
Redirects, excuse me, out of the blue. Make it work with a redirect. 2-0. The Spartans stunned.
Not a twig, not a branch. That is the stump. And he has thrown it into the back of the net with accuracy, with precision, with power. And Holy Spartans stunned here at the beginning of game number 2, less than 20 seconds down. And they've already conceded as many as in the entirety of game 1.
All right, cards on the table. We were shown the Spartans. I thought they were going to dominate, but Muhlenberg actually took offense. They do not have an interview package of their own. Not only do they take game 1, but leading by 2 and trying to expand on it. Oh, this one almost another own goal by the Spartans. And
oh no!
It can get out of hand, especially with those double commits. The defense, a lot of break in communication that definitely hurting not only the rotation but the responsibility to Muhlenberg. He's doubling down on that action, punishing every single chance they see.
So I don't think that Muhlenberg are particularly communicative themselves, but the moment that you do start to play as individuals, you're only asking for trouble! As trouble comes knocking at the far post, there's Vivid with number 3.
I love your vibrato, very natural here, but it literally just meant that. Vivid, you just have to be in the right place, right time, and I completely agree. It's not like they are this OP unit and these trio to fear. It's just that you are not connecting on defense or offense, and Muhlenberg just playing casually will find a way to find themselves in front of the ball and punish it immediately. The marble just finds a way to hit their nose every single time. 3-0, 90 seconds in game 2.
When did we see Holy Spartans scoring? It's when they doubled up on a play. Is it risky? Yes, but that's half of the joy of Rocket League, is seeing those risks paying off. Twig going for a little bit of a journey on his own, looking at the near post. Not going to find any joy there. Millie with an errant touch out to the midfield, helped by Tino. Going to win the challenge here as that moves towards the backboard, but back in town to make the save. Well, Twig actually doesn't get anything. Leaves it to Kojak here in a better position. Wins the challenge himself down into the orange sides of the field. 3 minutes left on the clock and still no signs of a great Holy Spartans offense.
Yeah, 3-0, and it's not like they're not good enough to get possession. It's just that they are not showing they're capable of making that possession a threat against Muhlenberg as we enter the second half. Last time we did so, leading by 1. This time, trailing by 3. The Spartans, what's going on? 2:30 on the clock. Here comes the 4th one. Dribble across not 1, not 2. All defenders. 4-0 Muhlenberg.
So it all starts when Skills completely sells himself short, removes himself from the play. It's a 1v1. Twig gets over that one, and Millie, on the way back, listen, did well to get into position, but when you are facing a car with forward momentum and you've got your boost tail when you've got your derriere looking the other way, doesn't matter if you get in the way, you're more than likely not going to stop the ball from moving any further forward. So Muhlenberg now with 4, gotta say, even at this early stage, seems unassailable. Might be even more unassailable if Twig can find the dunk. No, that's a great touch from Skills.
Oh yeah, it's probably the prettiest aerial out of the orange half in a while. 2 minutes to go. It's actually doable. If Muhlenberg scored 4 in the first half, so can the Spartans in the second. It's just that you have to string a couple of efforts together right now. They're just reacting. They're not proactive. Oh, you know who's proactive? Muhlenberg, who go all the way into the kitchen, inside the box, denied though for the 5th one. Milking as much time as possible, and that's probably the best strat. Your offense is your best defense. The crease. Open a tab and an investigation. That's the 4th one. Excuse me, the 5th one on the board. But what's that bounce off the ceiling?
Only Spartans, what was it? Maths and physics. Those were the favorite subjects. They could probably tell you a lot about the angles on that particular goal and how it came to be. Unfortunately, it's against them. That's not what they were looking for. And now the score is 5. And I wouldn't even call it a 5-star performance from Muhlenberg. I would argue that they've been actually weaker with their midfield presence than in game number 1. It's just one of those where Only Spartans, everything that they do seems to end in a capitulation of their defense. This is going to run away. This might be a fortunate one to get them back in. It's 5-1. 4 goals now separate the two teams. But Mitch, there's only 82 seconds left. I still think that mountain's a little too tall to climb.
Oh, most definitely. And despite Millie loving some Spider-Man, I don't think there's any webbing that could get you that high. 4 goals in less than 90. 5 goals in less than 90. We're actually, instead of close to the comeback, closer to Brazil.
We most certainly are. It's just a great kickoff and a great read from Kojak. In off the post, some would say that it could be a cleaner strike. I quite like it when they bounce in off the woodwork. It shows just how fine the margins are between hitting the woodwork and it rattling back out and hitting the woodwork and it going in. That a much cleaner shot met by a clean save. But you've got to say, Muhlenberg, 7 goals? Yeah, maybe. I'd wager that they might even be able to go beyond that.
Oh, man. From the Spartans, I just love their rotating strategy. If you cannot touch the ball, Brasilia, muito obrigado. If you cannot touch the ball any longer, rotate wider than intended, fire the bumps, create the gap, but it's that lack of accuracy. The shot quality is not there, and whenever you give up possession, especially with an overly aggressive third man pushing for the bump meta, you're gonna get caught off guard defensively, and that's been the name of the game so far. Muhlenberg, it's not like I just felt a deja vu. It's not like they're just deadly. It's just that you've given them time and time again chances to be deadly. 7-1 is just exhibit A of the series.
Oh, demo and a shot. And if it wasn't the case before, Mitch, it is certainly buon noche now as Muhlenberg put up 8 against Only Spartans 1. Skills, you can say a little bit unfortunate there because of the demo player ahead of him. He's only got a smoke screen to look through. Yeah. No great read on the ball because you can't see it. I would say that this is a bit of an exaggerated scoreline, but it is also a deserved scoreline because Only Spartans lucky to get away with 1 goal. As you say, Muhlenberg just given chance after chance, and they're going to score with some of those.
Yeah, best of 7s reward consistency and the mentality. Oh my goodness, what a save. Hopefully, or I wish it came in a clutch deserving moment. Instead, it's 8-1. Just putting the 9th one away. Not for long. Twig unable to close out the play. A best of 7s reward consistency, and Muhlenberg has been consistent for 2 games in a row. Who am I to say that the Spartans are not gonna be able to come back? No one, but I still gotta agree with you show yourself for 2 games, and this is the performance you put up. I think Muhlenberg is the better team overall. I don't think the next games are gonna be any different. The Spartans, though, the dream is alive. They just need to find a way to be consistent. That inconsistency, especially on the offensive third, is costing them not only a lot of goals, but a lot of goals against because you're giving the ball back overly pushed.
Yeah, Twig's player anthem there at the end of the winning game screen was Solar Eclipses, one of my favorite songs, certainly in Rocket League on the Monster Cat soundtrack, featuring Dr. Awkward. And I think that Dr. Awkward is definitely a good description of this series so far, because Oli Spartans, it feels like the only way that they are going to win a game, at least on previous form. Oh, a real shame there that Kojak wasn't able to get the read. Eventually does actually fall to Twig. It's going to be 1-0 Muhlenberg, but already at this scenario, Twitch, at this point, Mitch, I hate to say it, but Oli Spartans, for me, it feels like the only way that they will win a game is if they go 1-0 up and Muhlenberg miss the plethora of chances that go their way. Otherwise, Muhlenberg have shown time and time again that they can score multiple goals. There hasn't been a game so far where they've not scored less than 2.
Yeah, it's labber knockers, as I like to call them. Are usually because neither team is giving up any opportunities for free. You are almost perfect on defense, almost perfect on offense, unable to break each other down, and it's gonna come down to either somebody becoming a playmaker or whoever makes the first mistake. Here, I don't think the Spartans are even giving Muhlenberg the chance to have a clip-worthy moment on the pitch. It's just that they're creating the mistakes themselves where Muhlenberg can take opportunity, and the Marauders, I mean, who's gonna say no to that? Tino trying to crawl out from the midfield, trying to transition into offense. Only trailing by 1 is a great scenario, especially 90 seconds in. Last time we were here, it was 3 up by the Marauders. This could be a shot from the corner. A lot of hesitation though from the offense. That's also not only costing them the goal, but the better angle to create a threat.
Into the midfield. Oh, well, it wasn't for long, was it, as Muhlenberg pushing for that second. The longer that it does remain a 1-goal game, the longer the Oli Spartans will believe that they still have a chance here. This really their most prolonged spell of possession in the blue half, but given away so cheaply. Over 1, Kojak. Millie trying to deny him at the corner. That glances across the goal mouth. And as we head towards half-time, Muhlenberg on the offensive once again.
Oh boy, and this one from the heavens almost becomes a clip. It's just vivid. We'll put him out of their misery. 2-0 Muhlenberg. And man, this probably was one of the prettiest attempts so far. The defense, 4-4, nowhere to bounce. Triple whiff attempt out of the Spartans. And I mean, have the game remaining. Not over till it's over. Play to the whistle. But Muhlenberg, I mean, this is routine for them already.
We need to see a different look to the Spartans. I don't know if they've got any subs. I don't believe they have, given the information that we do hold at our disposal. And Muhlenberg, look, they just seem to have confidence, aerially speaking. Oli Spartans are far from that confidence displayed as this heads to the backboard. And Millie's going to try and fashion something from the back. But already, we talked about that rustiness of communication, Mitch, earlier in the broadcast, earlier in this series. I think that communication is flowing well and truly now, because any time where that leading player thinks, yeah, this is probably going to go over my head, there's always someone ready to step in.
Yeah. And I think it's, again, not only cleaner comms, because you said it earlier as well, you don't think Muhlenberg is that top-notch with communications, and I completely agree. It's just that there's instinct behind their gameplay. There is just a rhythm that they've picked up when you start playing with each other for a long time, especially as a trio in Rocket League, which is probably the most coordinated out of the entirety of the playlist. It shows Muhlenberg is just a better team when it comes to that end. And to echo what you said earlier, the Spartans can only pull a W out of the series if they get one lucky break on offense and a lot of mistakes out of the Muhlenberg attack. And were that to change anytime soon, I mean, you have to get 4 in a row for the reverse sweep. But at this point, 2-0, the Spartans cannot create any offense, cannot deflect any chances on defense. It's going to be a tough ask, especially when it comes to game 4.
55 seconds, still only a 2-goal advantage here. That's a nice passing play, but no power behind the shot. Forces skills all the way back. Millie's there. He's not going to deal with it. And because he didn't deal with it, Vivid is going to punish him. 3-0 Muhlenberg, and surely game 3 wrapped.
Yeah, most definitely with this lack of aggressiveness out of the Spartans. The Marauders, 3-0. And again, I got to say, I think it's the interview package. They are not in love with the idea of the other team getting the spotlight. And fine, we'll interview you next. I cannot make any promises as I do not arrange these. But, I mean, the Marauders, what a way to just show out, especially after all eyes from the Spartans. Oli has been missing in action the entirety series. And with 30 ticks to go, I think it's not only a given that we're going to go to game 4 with a 3-0 lead, but the Marauders are thinking about putting it to bed ASAP. I don't think this team would get any jitters, any second thoughts, or they would get even the slightest sense of nerves. They were just here for blood. They've already gotten 3/4 of the system.
It does have that feeling. It does have that vibe of they've told their family that they're just going to pop in the car, go down the shops, but they've got in the car and they haven't left. They've just stayed in their parking space. They're on their mobile phone, and they've come to the conclusion that they don't know their way to the shops quite yet, which you might be looking at this, my friends, and you might be thinking, hold on a second, but I thought you said that these two teams were on 3-0 going into this week. Well, they are on 3-0. That's the beauty of the Swiss system. Only Spartans have had opposition which they have been more than a match for. Muhlenberg, though, we're starting to see what separates them in a big way from the Oli Spartans. On the same record they might be, Mitch, but there is a class above here, and it's not the Spartans that we're looking at.
Yeah, I solely agree, specifically because that's how the format
Oh,
works.
chance.
You have to get
Oh.
the best teams up front, and then you start differentiating them thanks to the Swiss, because they'll go head-to-head eventually, but you start creating tiers out of tiers, and Muhlenberg is on a different level in and of itself. What a drop down with a pass. Nobody there for the follow-up, though. Now into the corner. This best case scenario, 66 in these shades of game 1. You're still not trailing. This is a W for the Spartans. You just need to strike first. And if you can do that, I mean, of course it's a long road for the reverse sweep, excuse me, but I mean, that's how you started, maybe with an air bump. That won't come in time. Millie will get bested in speed skills. We'll put it back into the midfield, and now transition for Muhlenberg.
Backs against the wall, it's certainly the best that we've seen from the Spartans since game number 1. It's certainly a better head start than what they had in the previous game, where we saw them down 2-0 within the space of 40 seconds. Combo play, that's going to hit the top of the box. Millie's going to go up for it, gets a slight touch towards net, was going to hit the post but dealt with anyway. Back into the midfield. That's a nice pass actually infield. I think it ended up being a bit of a cross between a pass and a shot on target, but either way, Muhlenberg now into the orange half once again. What can he do from here? Hits the backboard. Vivid with a touchdown.
Nice.
Great read. Here comes the third.
Oh.
Kojak 1-0.
Oh man, and you can fold, you cannot break like that. The toughest save was the first one. The second one, there was no need to commit with the backboard defender, and now you leave your net wide open, a bouncy, a skippy, as I like to call them. We'll let this one roll by. Muhlenberg strike first yet again, but this is the toughest to hit the Spartans since they played their best Rocket League here in game 4.
Oh, and Vivid a little bit too fast for his own good there. Could easily have been 2-0. Double your money, double your lead, and more than double your chances of sealing this one off in 4. It would certainly be a great disappointment for the Spartans if it is to end in 4, but as we've already covered earlier, Muhlenberg just look better. This ball going to fall into the blue half once again, but there's no possession. When they do have possession, it's given away cheaply. We do have some creativity here, some bump plays just to try and disrupt the Muhlenberg rotation, but Mitch, it's only a short-term solution, a band-aid onto a gaping wound.
Second half in full effect, and again, only trailing by 1 is a great look, but the double commits will never be. That's been the entire defense so far, and I'm not too sure why none of the other games have come close to the Brazil, but I mean, Spartans just leave a lot to wish for on their own last third. 2 minutes to go. This one, another attempt from the Marauders. Vivid wanting to freeze it, unable to get the second touch, at least towards the net. 90 seconds, so the Spartans are still in this one.
Heading downfield, demo, but the challenge was made and it was successful. Allows Kojak to pounce onto this one. Heading infield, finds Twig, but a bit of a limp touch there, and that's going to be thrown away. 90 seconds left, and how many times have the Spartans found themselves in this situation? The game is close, and yet they don't seem any closer to finding that breakthrough goal in time.
Oh man, and I just gotta go back to our motto for whatever HSEL matchup we see in front of us. You play a better team, you get better. And this is the prime example of it. The Spartans are peaking right now against the Muhlenberg Marauders. It's just a matter of finishing. You can start strong, you can have a great in-between, but you gotta finish strong. And the Spartans aren't able to do it. Just out a brick wall. They're in the bonds to get this one out of harm's way. Still though, in the orange half, Muhlenberg from the heavens, from the top rope. This one will be a drop down pass. The Vivid will close out 2-0. 48 seconds on the clock.
And Vivid has had some tough reads today. This one of the easier. It pinches kindly into his path. And Skills, the other competitor, really trying to win that race to the ball, just one step behind. But now it's Muhlenberg 2 steps ahead once again. 45 seconds left. It's Tino looking for that backboard pass, that backboard read, but it never arrives because Kojak is there once again. Skills up in the air. He's going to lose possession yet again, and if that isn't the story of the Spartan series, I don't know what is.
Oh boy, this one dangerous. You dropped inside the box. It just would suit the Spartans for it to be on the opposite end of the pitch, down by 2. If 1 was probably the biggest ask out of the Oli squad, well, 2 might just be a nightmare. Muhlenberg have not just shown up, they've showed out. The Spartans are just nowhere near where the Marauders initially thought they were going to be. They were both 3-0 teams, essentially dropping to 3-1. And the undefeated streak continues. Garbage time in full effect. Muhlenberg Marauders move up to 4-0 in dominant fashion.
It won't go down as an HSCL classic. Let's put it that way. It won't go down